It's from when Fezco beat me up. Very cool. Actor Jacob Elordi plummets to his death from Hollywood sign. Kind of speaks for itself, you know what I mean? It's pretty surreal. I remember when I was small, the first memory I have of coming to Hollywood, I was like 8 years old, and I have this impossible memory because it wouldn't work from where I was standing, but I was where the stars on the boulevard are, and there was this postcard of James Dean, and I remember saying to my mum, I was like, who is this guy? Like, his head is everywhere. In my memory, it's burned in as like this slow motion turn around, and there was just this giant white sign. So it's impossible from where I was on the strip, but for some reason, that's like what stuck with me. It's kind of, I don't know, it's quite magical. Listen, pal. Listen, hound. Hey, she's only a natural actress. She doesn't perform for the camera. Listen, I gotta be better. She's a Hollywood girl. She is. I've lived in LA, I think it must be close to 4 years now. I used to live in like a tiny apartment in the back of the valley. I would look down sort of over Hollywood and over the hills here, and I'd see these houses and I'd be like, man, who lives there? Like, who lives underneath the Hollywood sign? I was in acting school for about 6 months, and I was auditioning for projects and stuff like that, and then I sort of booked my first movie from those auditions, and then went and made that movie, and I was like, sweet, I'm set now. I'm gonna be the greatest actor that ever lived. And then it was like crickets. It was like 2 years of just, you know, going through the works, doing the pilot season stuff. It's just in and out of casting offices. So close, you're too this, you're too that, you're not this, you're not that, you're a terrible actor. And then, you know, now 4 years later, you know, I'm looking at it from the other side, and it's a pretty surreal experience, you know. I think Euphoria is like this cocktail of every single possible experience that a teenager might have or a human being might have put into one high school. I think there's something in every character that you can relate to, and there's these human themes, you know, there's love and loss and being wanted and not being wanted, and I think that's what the beauty is of the show, is that you have so much time that you can kind of dive into his life and see where he comes from, and once you see sort of his dad's story and his dad's kind of trauma and that being passed down to him, it's kind of like, you know, I doubt there's anyone that can really come out of that situation unscathed and, you know, a happy camper. Everyone is born into this world, and then you get given a set of experiences to play by, you know, so there's a reason behind the most heinous, awful people in the world. There's always a story behind, you know, that kind of trauma and that kind of tragedy. And whilst it doesn't validate their actions, I think it's good to have empathy and sit back and realize that everyone comes from somewhere. Go! I think I make a pretty mean cup of joe. It's good soup. This is a painting by my friend Marco Ristic, the Magnificent Mackie. He's a madman, but it's like a Buffalo 66 take, and it's my favorite. I just don't have anywhere to put it in here because it's like a black hole, and I feel like I'll get sucked into it and never come out again. This is a gift from a dear friend, and it's a Rebel Without a Cause poster from Japan. This is probably like my prized possession. Before this movie, men weren't allowed to show like tears or like a great amount of pain on screen, which is also interesting that this is like a Japanese print, because in Japanese culture it's the same kind of thing in their cinema. There's no tears, no crying, and then you have James Dean on the screen, like just tearing himself, not to use the quote, but like literally tearing himself to pieces on screen. I would just like kill to go back to that time and be in a theater and like be a young man and like see that performance. It must have been crazy, you know? You know, I have been watching a bunch of film noir, but when I really got into film noir was I was supposed to play Orson Welles in this movie. And I sort of started with his radio plays and stuff, but then kind of got into his pitches after Citizen Kane. And sort of the nature of them to me was just like so alluring, because you have these absurd, in-depth, crisscrossy plot lines and these kind of crazy masculine, like stoic characters, the greatest leading men of their time, like the biggest movie stars in these dark rooms, dreaming about this incredibly beautiful actress. Like, it's the dark room, it's the cigarettes, the top hats, the old cars, the clipped sentences. You know, it's everything about it is like, it's probably one of the sexiest genres of film that there is, you know? I wish that I guess we still do kind of make them, but I would like to make like an original, like hardcore film noir picture, you know? That's a dream of mine for sure.
Oh, there I was. A promising young buck from Brisbane, Queensland. My Australian accent, long gone. My appetite for the truth, insatiable. 24 hours, by God, I wish we had that kind of time. You know, I could have been somebody. I could have been something, but I sat there, and I waited, and I waited, till finally she called.
Jacob?
Anyway, yeah. Thank you for stopping by and taking a peek at all my peculiarities. I'm off to the pictures. Hello.
Hi,
How's it going?
Good, how are you doing?
Actually, yeah.
We have 3 cones. We have a waffle cone right here. So
Yeah.
you're smelling.
That one. Thanks very much. Appreciate ya. Yeah, I'm just taking a picture of these flowers. They just look really nice. We're on our way to the Los Feliz Theatre, which is this nice little cute theatre in Los Feliz, strangely enough. But it's one of my favorite places to watch movies in LA. Before the pandemic, I went almost every day, I would say, to go see a movie. Especially because when I first moved to LA, it was like I didn't know anybody, and it was just like this communal space where I could go and, like, you know, the people in the movies were like my friends. Going to the cinema has always been kind of informed what the dream of being here was for me. When I was 11, I was in Coffs Harbour, and I went with my dad to see Chris Nolan's The Dark Knight. And I think that was the first time I remember watching Heath Ledger. And when he's like, how about a magic trick? And he slammed that guy's head into the pencil and the pencil disappeared. I was like, that's what I want to do. Whatever that is, that's what I want to do. Strangely enough, I've been here for 4 or 5 years now. And because of this kind of terrifying new digital age, I've only ever really made things that are on like streamers or on television, and I haven't really made like a, you know, like a movie yet. And I think every time I go to the theater, it's hard to not sit there and be like, that's what I want to do that. Thanks so much for spending the day with me. I want to go and see a movie now.